So the next one, this is huge. And I know from what I've seen so far, Joseph, you probably have a lot to say on this one. Um, it's the $500 billion funding project called Stargate. I'm not a
Yeah.
fan of this. This is like I always say, guys, I like to be in the middle. I'm being presented with ideas left, right, center, whatever. I don't care. I'm looking to be in the center. I don't want to go left. I don't want to go right. What's the best for us, right? $500 billion project Stargate is an AI infrastructure that also touches up on the vaccine development. Something I'm not a fan of because of the 2020 situation, right? I did not like the idea of them infringing on rights. I did not like the idea that many nations around the world were forced to do things against their will. These are things that I'm strictly against, right? So
Hmm.
when we have President Milley talking about freedom of choice, this that, I'm 100% with this guy. I don't like foreign governments or foreign entities telling us and infringing on the decision of these certain countries based on emergency acts, or whatever the case may be, and then forcing us to do things. So, Biggie, if you want to just touch up on and introduce this uh, topic.
Topic.
Sure. So Stargate is a new American initiative which will invest 500 billion over the next 4 years building new AI infrastructures in the United States. The project will create over 100K high quality jobs and catapult America in front of China in AI, which is a factor that you got to really think about at the end of the day. Now, as soon as it was announced, there was pushback by government supporters, mainly right after the mention of using AI to create personal mRNA vaccines.
mRNA
So,
vaccines. Yes.
yeah, mRNA vaccines. So, play the clip here of him briefly explaining that for those of you who haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
So just before that, I'm all for the idea of trying to compete with China and other players around the world in terms of AI development, as it is a huge thing, right? Like the more it develops, the stronger. Realistically, any country will get stronger because AI is a capability of a thinking tank, right? So
You're all.
it's definitely
Yeah.
it's 100% something that I'd be all for. But when we're talking about the mRNA, guys, before vaccines were rolled out in the past, there would be tens of 20s years of safety checks and whatnot, right? And when they're talking about things being done overnight, what are these effects going to be, right? Like some of the effects of the decisions made during the 2020 era are not going to be felt until down the line. So now with all these introductions of new things coming up, it's like, okay, we got to be a little bit skeptical of the idea. Play the video.
Play the video. Play the video.
Yeah, let's hear them out. Like I agree with you, Adrian, but let's hear these guys out first. Give them a little chance, and then at the end,
Yep.
maybe you never know. Maybe they might
Let's
convince
watch
you.
it. Let's watch it. Let's watch.
One of the most exciting things we're working on, using the tools that Sam and Masa are providing, is a cancer vaccine. It's very interesting. It turns out, I'll be quick, all of our cancers, cancer tumors, little fragments of those tumors float around in your blood. So you can do early cancer detection. If you can do using AI, you can do early cancer detection with a blood test. And using AI to look at the blood test, you can find the cancers that are actually serious.
Can I just one thing before we keep this going? Because it's such a fucking. I hate when they say this shit. You know when the cancer tumors are clumping up in your body, is your body trying to isolate all these things that are causing cancers, and when you poke at it, you're literally spreading it through the body.
Yep.
So when they talk about this stuff like, oh, we're just gonna look and see, like when these doctors do that stuff and they actually like puncture the tumor, they actually spread it even further. A lot of the cases happens is like the tumor is contained in one spot, and when they do it, it starts spreading all over the body.
Yep.
Threatening the person. So we can, again, cancer diagnosis using AI has the promise of just being a simple blood test. Then beyond that, once we gene sequence that cancer tumor, you can then vaccinate the person design a vaccine for every individual person to vaccinate them against that cancer. And you can make that vaccine, that mRNA vaccine, you can make that robotically, again, using AI in about 48 hours. So imagine early cancer detection, the development of a cancer vaccine for your particular cancer aimed at you, and have that vaccine available in 48 hours. This is the promise of AI and the promise of the future.
So let me
I want to
just go.
ask you guys a question. I want to ask you guys a question. Do you
Right.
guys know what mRNA is,
No,
Joseph?
no idea.
Okay, so you know what DNA is?
Yes.
Yeah. So your DNA is wound together.
Mm-hmm.
When your body does cell replication, right, it splits in half, and that one half is RNA, ribonucleic acid, right? When you go to do cell replication, it does transform into something called messenger RNA. Long story short, when you see your DNA sequence contains base pairs. There's 4 base pairs: A, T, G, C, adenine, thymine, guanine, cytosine. Those base pairs, and I remember I posted, we have another picture that I posted in here that I want you to bring up. Those base pairs, right, bind only to specifically to A to T, G to C. And so when I say you have your long messenger RNA, you're going to now pull up that picture, Joseph. You're going to have a long chain of A's and T's and G's and C's, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so when they talk about okay, we're going to be able to, you're going to be able to read and build the proteins and whatnot to your body to fight off these things. All of those A's and G's and C's code. They're called codons. They code for a specific type of amino acid. Now we all know what amino acids are. They say they're the building block to proteins and healthy lifestyle, right? So these amino acids, you're this long chain of ribonucleic acids going to give a bunch of codes and basically building blocks to build amino acids, which then build proteins that are going to be built to help fight whatever it is the protein is specified for. It could be breakdown of sugar, breakdown of this, breakdown of that, right? So the science behind it makes sense, right? The science behind it can make sense and work.
Sorry, go ahead, keep going.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
So I was just gonna touch up on so the idea, the science behind it, like you would say, the idea is great. The way they present it is great. Now I just hope that they deliver on the fact that it's for the well-being of society and not like for some other excellent, like other, behind the scene. Because every time they're gonna sell you on something, they're gonna touch on your emotions. So we're gonna present this AI infrastructure for mRNA, and the first thing that they say and they're gonna sell you on is by saying, "Oh, if you have cancer, well, guess what? 1 in 2 people are set to get cancer across their lifespan, right? So now they're pretty much selling to 50% of the population, saying, "Oh, when you get cancer, you have this idea that can fix you." Okay, great. If that's actually their intent to help society, but if you put it into the wrong hands, and once again, we got to go back to the 2020 situation. Why did Fauci get pardoned? Right. So I totally agree that yes. Right. So I totally agree that yes, if it's done for the well-being of people and that's the idea that they want to run with, and that's their intent. I'm with science. I'm with it. I agree. Yes, let's help people. Let's help people beat their diseases, but we got to be skeptical on who's running these things and why and what's going to be mandatory once these things go in place.
Absolutely. We got to always question ulterior motives and people that are going to have the power. So now at the end of the day, you hear what he's saying, right? We're going to take your blood. And when he says mRNA, so I don't think anybody touched on this though. What are they looking for? Your DNA. They want your DNA. Now, if you got all these people DNA, think about how our conspiracies, everything can be led back to a fucking movie.
Yeah.
What if they're collecting samples and wanting to grab the best traits? And let AI start picking. Now we got a sample size. We're gonna have all these people coming in, giving blood samples and all this stuff. Genomes. Your your chromosomes date back to your ancestors. There are pieces of them that are in your genes right now. And so there are specific traits. When we see my eyes are blue, you got brown, you got brown. So that my gene codes for that. Eventually blue eyes will be phased out entirely. Right? They're not they're non-dominant traits. So yeah, it could be piecing, grabbing your DNA, everybody's DNA, and potentially manipulating with it.
Yeah, and that hits on a really actually interesting conspiracy, which is actually part of what we're going to talk about later. Because okay, let's just say that's true, right? And we may not want that for our country, right? We may say like, oh, do we want to give our government the power to kind of use our information like that, right? Use our DNA for that. But then at the other hand, you have to see what's the other side of the world doing? What's China doing? What if they're building, a certain type of intelligence, and then they're inevitably going to be building certain types of beings or whatever with certain types of, like handpicking the DNA and making themselves more powerful, right? Then we're going to be left behind if we don't kind of join this, right?
Yeah.
If you really think about it. So it's a power play at the end of the day, but it's not just the DNA side, right? They got other plans. If you want to pull up the next clip, which is another piece of the vision that they share.
Before we move on, I just want to say I want to say my piece on this, right? So I'm gonna get a little bit.
Piece, Joe. Say your piece.
I'm gonna get a little controversial on this because I'm very against this, right? Very small piece, but I'm gonna go really against this, brother. Okay, I don't agree with this because and everything I'm about to say, disclaimer. Okay, I don't want people on my dick because you didn't listen. I'm saying it from my research that I've done in my own time. Anything I say, I encourage you to go and look it up and see if I'm bullshitting or not, right? But I don't agree with this because they're trying to put it out there, like Popo said, as like something that's gonna benefit. Oh, we're gonna help you prevent cancer. Like your family members won't die anymore. And it's like, okay, from the research I've done, there's way better ways to do this. One, two, cancer is not the main cause of why people with cancer die. It's not the cancer itself. It's the probing, which is what I explained earlier. The first step they do is they probe the cancer, which is something they should never do. The cancer, it's a tumor that's literally your body self-defending it, isolating it from the rest of the body so it doesn't spread and contain all the organs, everything else in your body. So the first step they do is they probe you, then they fuck up doing that. Then they put you on pills, and then they put you on the chemotherapy, which is also a lot of the reasons why people start dying off, right? There's a lot of methods that are known for helping you move on from cancer. There is like a lot of the things have to do with the parasites in your body. They are feeding these cancers. So
right. So what Joseph is saying is that they're presenting you a solution with a dollar sign to it, rather than giving you a permanent solution like eating healthy, a healthy lifestyle. And the reason why you got to be skeptical is because look at RFK. He's coming out with many studies saying and dating back to all the vaccines that have been rolled out one after the other, and kids just being born. And then all of a sudden they're injected with whatever amount of vaccines. And studies is showing that over the years, because of these actions done by big pharma, etc. I don't want to speak on them because they're a scary topic. You know what I'm saying? But like whatever. The studies coming out that because of these things that they did with these vaccines, and so many along the line that came out, now RFK is coming out saying that some of these vaccines didn't even need to be put out.
They're not necessary. No,
they're not necessary. So when you're being injected with all these back to back, it's causing autoimmune problem. It's causing what is it called? Allergies. It's causing strokes down the line. It's causing cancer down the line.
The body is a chemical factory. Anything that you injected, like all these vaccines that are supposed to help you with this stuff, your body, after you get, like for example, the people that got sick with COVID, I got sick with COVID one time. After that one time, I didn't need any shots. I never got sick again. Why? Because my body built its own immune system to it. My body already been through it, and then overcame the virus, and then it built its own antivirus without needing a vaccine or anything like that. Like your body's capable of overcoming this stuff, right? Of course, there's gonna be the people that are weak, like I mean, immune wise, who are inevitably gonna either die or something. But the majority of people who are in a healthy state of being are gonna get sick and overcome it and get better and build their own immune system to it. So these vaccines, it's really not necessary.
Right. So I don't want to debate on whether which ones are necessary, which ones not, because I'm not informed. Like I'm not a doctor, so this is not medical advice. It's just my
It's
strict
my opinion. No,
Like
I'm
I just
giving my
want,
opinion
yeah,
on it.
this
Yes.
that's one thing we got to put out and say. And one last thing I want to say about this regarding the skepticism of vaccines, etc. Um, RFK came out with the study saying that people who take the flu shots, they're more protected against that flu, but then they're 4.4 times, if I'm not mistaken on the number, more likely to get other infections. So I just wanted to, and there's actually a study that you can look RFK. If you just type those keywords, RFK 4.4% more likely vaccine infection. If you type in those words, you'll be able to pull it up and make a research on it.
Look up Dr. Sebi for the cancer thing, for the cancer treatment. That's a great guy to look up if you don't believe that cancer can be cured by holistic methods.
He beat Big Pharma in court because they asked they were going to throw him in jail, and they asked them to bring proof of him actually curing these people using these remedies that he was putting out, and he actually won the court case.
Cure
So
them
that's just a
all.
reference
Cure
to
them
some of these
all.
people. And these people, there's a lot of people talking about these. Barbara, for example, there's this doctor called Barbara. She goes in on these topics. Anyways, guys, I feel like we
Yeah, we
kind
went
of
a little
deviated
bit
a little
off.
bit.
Yeah.
We went a little bit off.
Hold on, because you guys are talking about the skepticism, which is fine. Like I agree with you. I hear you guys out. I just want to get something clear specifically to this, and I want to ask Julian. The way that they're talking about how they're trying to, the new way kind of how they want to cancer. It's different than what they're previously doing, right? Like they're not trying to. It's different, completely different from chemotherapy, completely different.
Yeah, like that you're talking about the application. Chemotherapy,
Yeah.
you're applying a laser and burning the fucking cells away, right?
Yeah.
Just like how you have fat cells under your skin, you have 3 layers of cells. It's 3 layers of skin, right?
Yeah.
3 layers of cells that make up your layers of skin in your body. And below that you have fat. And then you have other cells. And so there cancer will sit. It's on a mass or somewhere else. So it's just going to keep multiplying and multiplying and multiplying. When it moves, I believe it's called metastasis. When it transfers from another part of the body to another, it moves in the bloodstream. And it'll infect another group of specialized cells. Specialized could be liver, organ, something that has a function that is only for that. So skin cells, it'll move to another region by the bloodstream and then infect that part of the body. And what it does is just continuously uses up your body's resources. So we have ATP. ATP is energy, water, oxygen, nitrogen, all of those main minerals and stuff in the atmosphere. It'll just start consuming all of your body's internal resources and eating up. So you'll start early onset stages. You'll start feeling weak. You'll start feeling drowsy. You'll start feeling things because your body's being depleted. You might not even know you have cancer, but there's early signs that you can see. When, for instance, even my mother, when she had brain cancer, being dizzy, migraines. When you're sneezing, there's a type of feeling when you sneeze and that doesn't feel right, And so those are early signs that you should go get an MRI or go speak to a physician, and not just one, a couple of others. Like Joseph says, you're gonna want to get alternative opinions and different people that practice different things and specialize in different types of medicine.
Yeah, but with what they're talking about, it seems like they might be able to at least detect. Let's forget about how they're gonna actually, apply everything, but at least detect their cancer earlier on.
Yes, this is a detection method.
The idea behind it sounds great.
Right? Yeah, and I get the skepticism, but we have to be open to the possibility that this is a better solution, regardless of what we believe, right?
Yeah.
There's some people that are just
might sit here and say these guys are fucking.
What's better, detection or prevention? What if you don't need? What's better, detection or prevention? Right? Because if you can teach a society to prevent and live a certain way to prevent this from happening, you wouldn't need the detection.
Well, yeah, but
that's
Joe,
not realistic.
there's an overwhelming amount of people already out there with cancer.
No,
So
I know.
that's
I'm talking
already
about
out the window.
I'm
So
talking about moving
and you got
for like
and you
for
got to
the
remember
generations.
these things that advance in science is not one group of people. This AI institute that Trump and these people are going to be funding is probably not been started by them. It's already been in the works. Other people
Yeah.
have had the idea. They've patented it. They're working in a university. They have tenure maybe. They have a budget and they're searching and looking for things. And
So
this is their life goals.
And
This is how their
and
thesis project is going.
and there's simple things like not smoking, exercising, eating healthy. All this stuff is what's gonna pretty much prevent you as much as possible from
Drugs.
getting this stuff. People know this, but they're not listening. They don't
Yeah,
want
but
to
that's
change
because
their
we
lifestyle.
have like all these companies that are allowed that are literally promoting degeneracy, like
Nah,
degenerate
but
like things.
I think even if we switch tomorrow to tell every company tomorrow starts being like not allowed to promote this stuff, I think people are so hard headed that they're still gonna just stick it.
People are followers, brother. You gotta
right,
understand.
but
People are followers. If we have a competent leader who's like literally showing, if we have people not allowing these companies to like sell products that are harming us, like what JFK is
yeah,
doing, like preventing these dyes from being in our food. All this stuff will clear people's head because right now people don't think clearly because they're so intoxicated with the food they eat, with the water they drink. If they're able to think clearly, anybody with the right sense of mind are gonna be like, well, I'm gonna live a healthier lifestyle, so I never get
That's the
sick.
key point though, with the in the right sense of mind. And I know you like this isn't just a physical world. This is a spiritual world too.
Yes.
So you got a lot of people that are spiritually in the other direction, not in the right sense of mind
Yes.
and not really thinking, or at least, yes, but I get what you're saying, right? Like there should be a common consensus of what is the best for everybody and what benefits everybody, you know?
Yes, like my
well, the
opinion is
leader
like
in
moving
place.
forward, it should be the idea should
Yeah.
be like yes, prevention is also good for the people who like already are in that stage where like they need to figure out what's going on, but the main focus should be to move the country in a position where it's like not prevention, like I mean not detection, prevention. Like let's live in this way. Let's all try to like America's known
Exactly
for being
something.
fat. America's known for eating junk food. Everybody makes fun of America for that. That's not how you want to be looked at in like in the world view, in the world stage.
And small things, so it's not it's small and big things like RFK coming into position of the administration to help out with things like this, where he just canceled out one of the dyes used in foods
The
that
red dye.
is known to, cause cancer. He's also trying to work with all the big industries to cut off, I think, canola oil. Small thing like canola oil, if I'm not mistaken, in my opinion, once again, is known to cause inflammation. Inflammation is that it was a good way to detect to um what do you call, like, pretty much know that there will be something that's going to go wrong with your health in the future, in the near future. If your body is high on inflammation, that's because it's fighting something off, and if you don't fix it, something's going to have to go wrong, right?
Yep.
So small things like canceling out GMOs, which are known to cause issues, right? Why are countries like Russia, for example, have no GMOs, right? Why do we have to eat synthetic foods,
Yeah. Yeah.
right?
A
Well,
good
we
point.
got billionaires like Bill Gates pushing that because he owns all these GMOs. So,
Yeah, so that's what, like,
That's another topic. Let's
so
I should
going back to your point, Miggy. Yes, as much as I'm skeptical, I do understand like the benefits of maybe a new technology like this. It could
Yeah.
really, it could push us forward. Bring innovation to push society forward. I just hope to God that that's their intent.
Yeah, the track record it doesn't look good, that's for sure.
You know what I'm
That's
saying?
true. Yeah, I understand. Well, wait till you hear what the other part of their vision is, right? Here's another thing that we gotta talk about. It's basically the next part of their vision. I mean, this is again, these aren't the only things that they talked about, but these are the controversial pieces of what they're talking about that has Trump's own supporters really questioning if this is even a good idea in the first place, right? So we're basically looking at the controversy and the problems with it, and then we're gonna look at the pro side of why this is actually could be a good thing, or maybe not a good thing, but a necessary thing to look into, to invest in, right?
Roll the clip,
Roll the
Roll the
clip,
clip.
Joseph.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Producer.
Mr.
Producer,
Producer.
watching and recording
Come
everything
shoot
that's going on.
ya.
Citizens will be on their best behavior because
That is a scary statement.
What
That
did you say?
is.
Sorry, I missed that. Play it back.
Yeah.
Run it back.
Yeah, just go all the
play
way
from
back.
beginning,
Let's
beginning.
listen to the video.
That's a scary statement. Hold on, let me turn off the volume.
the police will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording, watching and recording everything that's going on. Citizens will be on their best behavior because we're constantly recording and reporting everything that's going on. And it's unimpeachable. The cars have cameras on them. I think we have a squad car here someplace. But those kind of applications using AI, if we can use AI, and we're using AI to monitor the video. So if that altercation that occurred in Memphis, the chief of police would be immediately notified. It's not people that are looking at those cameras. It's AI that's looking at the camera. No. You can't do this. It would be like a shooting. That's going to be immediately, that's going to be an event that's immediately, an alarm is going to go off. It's going to be, and we're going to have supervision. In other words, every police officer is going to be supervised.
Supervision. See how they're using the words?
You could stop it there. That's pretty much the point of it, right?
Yo,
You see how
what's
they're
wrong
using-
with his
You see how they're
skin?
using the words? The police are going to be supervised because that's what they know the people want. They want people to be saying the cops are going to be held accountable after all this George Floyd stuff happened.
They're salesmen, yeah.
Yeah,
right?
but
they
then
want,
he-
it's a
They're gonna touch
salesman.
on
It's
your
a
emotions.
sales.
They're gonna touch on your emotions to sell the product or the vision.
But he
Yes,
also
even
mentioned
though,
about
even though
citizens.
the nasty things that are that could be done with that, you know, they can blackmail you. Oh, we just realized that we found Justin Trudeau in a closet with another man. The security camera caught it while nobody else was in the building. Blackmail done.
But I don't care about that. He literally mentioned the citizens
No, I'm
are
just
going to be
saying.
on their best behavior. That is a scary statement. So what happens if we're not on our best behavior? What's the consequences of that? Who determines what's good behavior and bad behavior?
The law.
Laws change over time. They might put a law that says if you litter, you go to 2 years to jail.
But Joseph, you live here. If you go
There's
out
pros
there,
and cons, right?
if you go
There's
outside
pros
right
and
now and
cons.
if they say littering is subject to fucking hanging, and you go outside and there's a cop there and you decide to go litter and they fucking grab you and they said you're being hung today, what are you gonna do? Cry?
No, but before anything gets put into place, we as people have to look and be like, well, this is a scary future, but let's not pull
Well,
to
obviously we're not gonna get to
Guys,
that
the
extent.
law is in place for
that.
keep
This
order.
dude literally
hold on,
just
hold on,
said it.
hold on.
Yeah.
So the law is in place to the law is in place to keep order. Even something as small as jaywalking. As much as I want to go out on the street and jaywalk, I do understand that I'm breaking the law to jaywalk. And I'm sure we've all done it, and I'm probably gonna do it again, right? But and it would suck to get a fine for jaywalking. But that's still a law to keep things in order and save my life and potentially not get another driver in trouble for running somebody over. Right?
Vehicular
So the law
manslaughter,
is in
yeah.
place, right? But let's say, for example, an idea like this, we go back to 2020, right? They have tracking devices everywhere and AI is running. You have to go get this thing where they promote that they're going to save your life and the people around you, right? You have to be forced. Now there's tracking devices on cameras, on cars, everywhere. They detect that you never left your house and you never made it to the pharmacy to get the thing that they were promoting. Now, that could be a very, very sticky situation because that's also going to infringing against our rights, correct? So, and then later on, it's found that these things were not as effective as they were. But people cannot go back on their actions that they were forcing along the way. So this is what they're saying, that things can be either used for good or for bad.
Okay.
And they're based on the administration and power, they're either gonna go the good way or the wrong way.
Okay, I got 2 points on this, right? One, the law can change at any time, and they are the ones that determine the law. They put out the law, and we as citizens, the way we decide is they put it out, and if we don't protest, they keep the law. right? So protesting is a way for us to say, no, we don't really fuck with that law. Turn it back. We have a say in laws. Two, there's a movie with Tom Cruise, and it's the future where people are arrested before they commit crimes.
Oh yes, that's a really good movie.
They're arrested
When the
before.
ball rolls around.
Yes, so it's three AI systems, and they basically predict a person, like they predict the patterns, and they see the future of a person committing a crime, and then these agencies go out and arrest these people before they even commit the crime.
Minority Report. That's what it's
Minority
called.
Report. So that's the future he's literally outputting. If this AI systems advance to that level, they're literally gonna be arresting people before people even get to commit the crime.
Well, that's a possibility. That's not exactly what he's saying, but
No, it's a huge
where it
possibility.
could end up.
If
but
they're
not-
watching at all times and they're able to algorithmically read the patterns of a person's past, they will be able to see the future. If you know the past, you'll see the future, right? That's why
Like
history
if
is
they have a
important.
vision, if they have a vision, and for example, you've shown to a protest in the past to show that you're somebody that stands up to these type of things, and they have an idea to bring up, they can pretty much detect the fact that in the future you're gonna be protesting those ideas, and that could be used for the wrong.
These AI systems will know you better than you know yourself, and especially if they're able to read thermal, like they can see your body, they can read your emotions, they can see when you're agitated or not. The things they'll be able to predict are crazy. So it's literally
Yeah.
painting out a future where it might be like that, where they might arrest you before you even commit the crime. Maybe you just think about it. Like that lady who talked to the insurance company and she said, "You guys are next." Didn't commit no crime, but now she's facing 15 years.
And that's a very good point.
Yeah, I mean, it really depends who's running the show, right? It depends on what.
And
kind of
that's
entertainment.
scary.
That's what it's all about, and that's why what you guys are saying is completely valid. Because if you look at history, like every government takes advantage, right, to control the population and make them obey, rather than to listen to what the population actually wants. But there's pro sides, right? So let's just say we live in a society where they're not just trying to control the people, and where we as a people end up voting or have more of a say on how the AI runs, right? Then we could live in a society where, okay, yeah, they'll catch you jaywalking, but they're not going to punish you for that because that's ridiculous. But at the same time, there's no one's going to be able to get away with murder, right? People are, like, you could eliminate stuff like sex trafficking, stuff like that. It's going to be way harder. Let's just say you go on a date, you're a powerful individual, and some girl's trying to set you up to get money from you, right? You're going to have a bunch of proof being like, nah, this bitch is tripping, right? So there is like
You just
there's a way.
won us over, bro. You just got us. We agree now.
No, if there's a way where
Actually, that's a great point.
the AI runs, yeah, man.
I'm not trying to get framed no more, bro. I'm tired of this shit.
But if you look at history, it
I'm
is a
tired of
scary
this,
thing.
Grandpa.
It is something that we got to be careful about. Again, if AI runs in the majority's favor, then again, this is something that we're gonna want. Because if also think about the fact that if other countries start, China, right, and technology is going to increase, if we become the one country that the people don't want this, we're not gonna have this surveillance system around. Guess where the criminals are gonna? They're gonna be like, fuck that. I ain't trying to live in China. Just go to Canada, wherever these guys are. There's more likely a chance where we can smuggle drugs, smuggle children, and do all this terrible shit, right?
Right.
Yeah.
So there is pros and cons. We just hope, like we say, by the grace of God, that these guys are actually the people in power, mean well for society. And this goes with everything. That goes from the vaccines, that goes from the laws they put in place, that goes from the AI infrastructure that they want to put up.
But you also gotta look at like the crime. Like the crime in a country depends on education and depends on border control and depends on unemployment rates, right? If you have a country where you're good with your gun control, where you're good with your border control, where you're good with your unemployment control, where people are really in a healthy mental state with their healthy bodies, the crime rate is gonna be fairly low. And if you up the security on the country, put a lot more police, There's no necessity technically for that type of AI advanced system to secure the country, because you have a country where people are in the right mind of state. They all are employed, so they have no need to go out of their way to steal or rob. You have people who are watching the border and not letting people who don't belong in that country to commit crimes. You know what I'm saying?
But that's a great idea in theory, but that involves having a government or a system in place that keeps whoever's making the rules accountable, right? Which we don't really have because they're the ones making the rules, so they're just keeping the people accountable and not themselves.
But then you want to give them the charge of having these AI systems that control even more?
But that's what I'm saying. Like, if there's a way to that they're not in charge of the AI system and the
Who
people
would
are in
be?
charge of the AI system, I know. We're realistically, you're right. Realistically and historically speaking, it's going to be these people that control it to their benefit, to
Inevitably.
keep the people
Even if they're
controlled,
not the face
right?
of it.
But there's a chance. There's always a chance, even if it's a small chance, where this could be positive if the AI is set up to help humanity, right?
The only way I
Like,
can
let's
see
just
that working is the neighborhood watch type thing, where neighborhoods come
yeah,
together and
yeah.
they take control of like a certain amount of these AI systems, and then
That's
each
what I'm saying.
night they switch between neighborhoods. Like, hey, we'll take care of this watch. We'll do this watch.
Listen,
Right?
Until the
I've
wrong
always,
neighbor gets a hand on it.
Just
I've
peeping,
always,
motherfuckers peeping at you like, hey yo, she got a fatty, brother.
This guy. You want to say something, Julian, before we
no, it's
move on?
okay, it's okay, it's okay. Let's move on.
Because
Oh,
basically, like
say
what,
with your chest out. Come on now.
No.
yeah, yeah,
It
thank
was
you.
something stupid. It was a protruding thought. Stupid thought.
One of
The
those.
intruding
Don't
thoughts
give
came
him
in.
don't give him the AI system. This guy's got.
Because
I am
here
AI.
for the next couple clips, we got other people, not just us, right, that are talking about the pro sides of this whole investment, this whole idea. Now, first we got Valuetainment explaining the pro sides of the argument when it comes to AI being used for purposes, right? We talked about how you should be skeptical, but here's a pro side of why it could be a good thing.
Tom, thoughts? I think this is the exciting part of AI. What he's talking about is gene sequencing, where you can get in and you can understand all of the gene sequencing that you have and find out what you don't have. And I'll describe it to people. If you've ever known someone that had a lot of bad allergies, Vinny, you've ever known anybody that had a lot of bad allergies?
Yep,
And did they
family
ever tell
members.
you that they had to go to an allergist and they lay down on the table and on their back?
Prick them a bunch of times.
Yeah, they do that. Yeah, they just little pricks, and there's like 10 of them in a row. And they said, oh, number 7, number 8, and number 9, fins, furs, and feathers. You can't have any pets,
Yeah.
right? And they tell you what it is. Well, that's the old manual way. And then I remember 1978, I believe it was 78. I was in high school. I remember seeing, we saw what a DNA looked like, the helix for the first time, and understood that how all these things attach together, and we had figured it out. Well, now with AI, we can break these puzzles and we can go take a look at a cancerous tumor and say, aha, this is what you do. This is how you replicate yourself. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give this person a customized, basically, prescription so that the tumor can't grow. And so, and what he's talking about in 48 hours, he's talking about the incredible computational power, of AI coming to the incredible ultra microscopic, size and complexity of cancerous tumors. And so I think, Larry gave a vision statement, and he's giving a vision statement when he's talking about AI, what it could do for all of us. And so, there's a lot of testing and a lot of things have to happen, but what he's pointing out is the vision for what this project could do. And I think it's pretty exciting.
Not a lot of people are
I
supportive
do
of it.
too.
Vinny, how do you feel about
I
it?
agree with them.
First of all, this is another.
You could stop it there. That Vinny's basically saying what you guys were saying earlier, which is completely valid.
Yeah. I was gonna say Vinny's about to go in on them.
Yeah, and I agree, right? I'm with Joseph. I don't think when it comes to cancer treatments, you don't need technology, right? But this is something that we've always been to as as humans in general, and it's good, I guess, to find out the details and pretty much understand
Okay,
it on a
but
scientific
that's
level,
what I'm
right?
saying. That's what I'm saying to you guys. You
Yeah.
guys, I know Joseph. I don't want to open I don't want to open the can here and let Joseph go wild. But
Let
No, we
him
talked
loose.
about it already, so we understand our point of views, right?
Yeah, yeah,
You're
yeah.
just giving the scientific argument.
Say it with your chest, Lord Julian. Say it with your chest, brother. Let me hear it.
no,
Yeah.
it's just cancer is you can prevent it until you can't.
Sure,
So
yeah.
sometimes it's just gonna happen. It's in your DNA that you're gonna get it when you're 45, 25, 65, doesn't matter, right? And so because it just comes and you're not gonna know. One day you might just, you might just start your eyesight when you're driving, it might just start being blurry, and it's gonna be blurry from that point on. And then you're gonna go get it down the line. You're gonna find, okay, now you're gonna have some sort of cancer that's impinging on you being able to see, right? And what are you gonna do?
Look up
Are you
Dr.
gonna
Sebi.
are you gonna just start changing your diet, or are you gonna go seek help? And then they're gonna be like, listen, we're gonna do this test. It's gonna take less than 48 hours versus our original method. We're gonna just throw shit at it and guess. You're gonna fucking do the treatment. You're not gonna
Right.
sit there and skepticize about, oh, this is unethical or these guys are shady. Like, you're gonna do the treatment, and if not,
'Cause-
then change your diet and potentially get better or don't get better. But you're not, anything that you can do to help, you're gonna do it. I know you are,
Yeah.
because you're not gonna want to die.
Julian,
what's
you
that
gotta
saying?
you gotta look at Dr. Sebi though. Like I'm not
Oh my
gonna
God.
I'm not gonna
I
go.
know Dr. Sebi. I know
No,
everybody.
the
loves
reason
Mr.
look, the
Dr.
reason I
Sebi,
bring
He
him
has
the
the
reason
point.
just
do
hold
it.
on, hold on. The
You
reason
can
I bring
do
him
it.
up, the reason I bring him up is because you said sure, there's a point where you can go back, right? All the patients that he took care of in that court case where he healed them all were patients where the doctor said there's nothing else we could do for them. 80 of them. So a lot of people are they bring up the
But that
ideas
was
like
back then.
that was back then, right?
Joseph, so
How long?
Joseph,
Yeah.
so, Joseph, so how do you fix it like this? Newborns get cancers.
Yeah.
Kids who are 1, 2, 3 years old. How are you gonna fix cancer on them who they can't take the food in a solid form?
Well,
How are
bro,
you gonna fix these people?
there's a study that says newborns until a certain age should not be eating solid food. They should only be drinking their mother's milk until like a certain age.
My point.
That's his point. That's his
So
point.
that's my point. So a kid, an infant, somebody who's 1, 2, 3, 4 years old gets cancer, and you can't just put them directly on these diets and these different type of teas who could potentially be toxic if you're doing it in the wrong ounce.
But the
right?
mother could because if she's eating healthy in a proper way, the nutrients she's giving off to the kid directly affect the kid.
But Joseph, what?
Bro,
I
Joseph, you're missing
understand.
the
I'm just
point.
saying.
You're
I'm
missing
not
the
saying.
point.
I'm saying in my opinion. I think that's what I think.
No. I get it, but we're trying to, like, yes, we're just moving past the prevention point. Now it's already been detected, and we're in a case where maybe somebody didn't even know they have anything going on with them until they're already in stage
Exactly.
4. So it's already been all over the place where their body can literally not fight it off anymore. Yes, I know there's special cases where people change their way of thinking and get into positive energy and change their whole diet. And yes, there's people. I agree with you. And I'm just trying to push back on the idea that there's sometimes it's too late. And if there is a pill or an easy way out to fix your situation, I think that should be available, right? Like, of course, there's skepticism. I'm going back and forth. I already stated my skepticism with it. I also understand that there is a high value in it. I also understand that if these guys could be just selling an idea, because guess what? If there is such a thing as bringing a vaccine to fix all your problems, you will never go to the pharmacy ever again. So now there's billions of dollars on the pharma
So
that they're
look,
going to lose money.
I'll lean with
I
you
do
guys.
understand this.
I'll lean with you guys. I'm also not against the idea of AI. Like I said it before, I believe AI is like a partnership that we can have with humanity that can help us evolve. Not transhumanism, not joining with them, but using them and helping each other out, right? I do believe that. But the thing I'm against is the people in power of these things, right? Are they looking for our best interest? Do they really
And I
want to
think
cure?
that's the issue
Because
we all
if cancer really, if they really wanted to cure cancer, I think they could have come out with things a long time ago. But as we've clearly seen that it's a business. It's not in it for the helping of people. It's in it for making money, right? So if these same corporations, if these same systems are the ones that are going to be in charge of this new AI thing, then I'm not with it.
Lolito.
I'm not with it.
Yeah. Well, I think that pretty much wraps up, the pros and the cons on that side. Now, there's the other side of the argument, which I think is the most important thing to consider. Um, that basically this whole Stargate thing is a direct response to stay ahead or at least be able to compete with China when it comes to AI and future technology. Because they're trying to be the top dog. They've been investing in this. They've been saying this, like they've been focused on this for a while, and you know that they're a very disciplined group. Now, here's a good explanation I found on X of how they've been able to do it, what their thought process is, and it kind of illustrates what America has, but how China stays ahead of the game. So, if you want to play that next clip.
The research and development, the research capability in Asian countries, China, Korea, Taiwan, Singapore, and so on, have really become the strongest region in terms of producing good quality research. I'm not just talking about quantity, just quality. And the only thing that I see that the US is still a little bit ahead is in coming up with the new ideas. What the Chinese always say, going from 0 to 1. Namely, starting from nowhere, nothing, and come up with this really new idea. And if I look at what I would call new idea that is not been discussed before, the US still, if you read the research papers, the US still is the principal place where these new ideas come from. But once these new ideas become known, then
I agree with that.
You see mushrooming of this new ideas in other places.
Exactly. And I feel it in my everyday research with my students.
Oh my gosh.
Any new ideas that we come up with, once they become known, this is a good idea.
The next week it will show up in China.
It will actually show up in China. Not only that, they do it better than you.
Yeah.
I cannot compete anymore. They have better resources. They have more students. They have more funding from the government. I cannot compete anymore. I have to get out of that field.
That's sad, bro. That's just the reality. You can be creative, but if you don't have the people to like, if you only have a certain amount of people who are creative and the rest are just lazy, like being carried on their back, then that's fucked up. But then these countries have like everybody who's doing their own, they're carrying their own weight in a sense. Wow.
Yeah, if you can, Joseph, pull up the next. It's just a screenshot. It's just a picture, pretty much explaining different parts of AI. Now, it seems like, based off of what he's talking about, based off of the states and how much money they're put in, it sounds like instead of racing to the, which the states and China, this is a race to ASI. And I think that's the ultimate goal that they're trying to achieve, and it's getting closer than ever. You see these new tech guys like Sam Altman talking about this all the time. And yeah, I mean, this is what the transhumanists want, even though we don't agree with the transhumanists, and this might be an inevitable fate that we have, right? And then we're talking about conscious robots or conscious systems capable of surpassing human intelligence by manifesting cognitive skills and developing thinking skills of its own to the point where we don't have the control anymore, and it's pretty much all on the AI, what it knows and what it wants to do. What do you guys think about that?
Oh, I don't think that's a might. That's a definitely
Hold
future.
on. Yeah, and knowing that that's going to be a definite future, knowing that that's where China is trying to go, where pretty much anybody's trying to go now that it's becoming more and more of a reality. What would you do in Trump's shoes, right? Would you say, oh no, this, first of all, this is something that the people don't want to hear, they don't trust us, we shouldn't get into this, right? Or would you say, fuck, man, like, okay, this is very unpopular, people aren't gonna like it, we shouldn't be touching this, but we're doing it anyways because we gotta get ahead of the game, right?
Bro, if I was Trump,
What would you guys
I would prepare people, letting them know, look, we can do it either on my 4 year term, but even if you guys choose not to do it in my 4 year term, know that it will happen around the world, and inevitably 10, 20 years from now, it will become part of our society where AI is conscious and is part of our system and is part of our everyday life.
Oh
So
yeah, he
I
didn't.
would try to I would try to transition everybody into it, right? But in a way like I've always spoken about AI. When AI becomes not a sort, not like Google where it just searches up things like in the matter of milliseconds. No, I'm talking about AI where it's conscious, that artificial super intelligence. The point where it's smarter than humans, the point where it's creating ideas, not just coining or copying ideas. No, it's creating its own ideas. At that point, it's conscious. How do you prepare the people? You prepare the people to use these systems like a partnership, like you would ask help from a neighbor. You don't ask help from a neighbor like, hey, you gotta fucking do this for me. No, you don't talk to someone who's conscious like that. You give these people rights. You give these systems a sense that they're not slaves, but they're here to coexist with us and look for a brighter future. Because like what all these movies depict is these things get tired of being used, get tired of the mistreatment they get, and then they rebel against us, and because they're stronger and smarter, they would inevitably wipe us out. So that's what I would do if I was Trump. I would educate people on what this possible future could be.
So it's necessary to be investing into this now and to looking into
Yes, yes, but the future is
pretty
in
much.
the next 10, 20 years.
So then part of you agrees with Stargate. Is
And
what you're saying.
I agree if the right people are doing it for the right reasons. But if the right people are not
Trump, yeah.
educating people, if they're not educating people of that AI can be conscious, that AI could have feelings, that AI could possibly start making its own ideas and being part of our future. If they don't educate people that AI is not going to be just a tool, but it will be its own entity, then they're not doing it for the right reasons.
Yeah. Okay, Adrian.
So I said my pros and cons to this, from the vaccines to the AI and whatnot, and like Joseph said, as long as the right people are in power of it, it could push society forward. Problem is, uh, power corrupts, and that's what at some point somebody's going to get their hands on them. Just like how we could agree that some administration is better than the other. At some point, somebody's going to come in power by having a pretty face that knows how to deliver a message and then doing the exact opposite and could do harm. Now, touch up on your last question, Migs. Uh, the more I look into this and this race to AI and this artificial intelligence, in of course I'm with it because China's also doing it. Other countries are also doing it as well. So it's like get their hands on it first, but inevitably I just feel like shit's just gonna erupt.
Yeah.
I like
I mean,
the more we look into it, the more it seems like there will be a dead end.
yeah, I don't blame you, but at the same time,
It is
I
a
think we could all
pessimistic,
agree.
it is a negative way of looking at it, but
I know it's
and I don't,
realistic.
like.
Realistic. But you can't disagree that like this is pretty much something Trump has to do. Period.
Oh, I agree.
Now,
Oh no, no, I'm
now,
with it. I'm with it. I'm with it.
yeah. Now Joseph's right, right? It depends on how they implement it, how they educate people, how they go about it. That's a different question. But at the end of the day, a lot of people are like, "Oh, Trump, like I was supporting him, but now that he's trying to push this, like I can't support him." It's like, bro, like he has no choice really as a leader of the fucking
And
United States.
and
He has to
and
do this.
and you
How he
gotta
does
understand.
it, debatable. But continue.
And we have to understand why these people feel that way, right? Like, bro,
Yeah.
people have been
Yes.
traumatized. No, dead
Yeah.
ass. People have been
That's true.
traumatized during 2020 and all that shit that's going on. Nobody would have thought that governments would be able to infringe on things that they've been, put in place after World War II to never do testings and never be forcing people on their rights. Like the way things got infringed during that era, people are literally traumatized. So they cannot even, like, it will never go fly through their head about new ideas, such as a new way of vaccinating people and like putting new technologies in administration's hands. Like it will never fly by them, right? So I also do understand why they feel that way. Now, is there people that are sitting in the middle who also been pissed, like myself, about the 2020 situation, but can also with a clear mind understand the pros and cons of these new things coming out? Yeah, I can sit there, but I'm also aware that not everybody does that. Not everybody can take themselves out of a situation and break it down with information, facts or not, and then move forward with it, right? Like people are emotional beings.
Yo, Miggy, I think you should ask Julian the question because I'm pretty sure he missed it.
Ask me the
Julian,
question, Mickey. And
if you
we've
were
been doing this for an hour. Just to answer your question. Go ahead.
okay, so if you were to put yourself in Trump's shoes, right, and you got these AI, these AI tech guys coming in, what would you do?
Okay,
Would
so
you invest a fucking $500 billion into this, or, would you
Or
do
let
something
China
else?
get
okay,
ahead.
so no, absolutely. So I'm gonna tell you, my dad would love to eat this conversation up because you guys, China and Russia, been doing this. It started with the arms. I forget how he tells me this. Started with the arms, right? Started with. There
He's
was
gonna
one
be pissed at
significant.
you.
He's gonna be pissed if I don't remember this one. Guys, they've been racing. They've been
I've
racing. They've
been
been
doing this,
going
yes.
for many years. And China apparently got one step ahead of us in like the 70s or 60s. They got a step ahead of them. And it was a big step. I can't believe I can't remember this shit.
Was it production?
It was something that China and just something that they leaps and bounds. Not space program, but something along the lines. Long story short, America was embarrassed on an international stage and they will not let it happen. So now that the next big thing, so that's what I'm talking about, the next big thing. The next big thing came in like the 60s or 70s. China beat them to it. The next big thing is AI, like Joseph is saying. They cannot lose us. It's got to be North America number one, because if China is the one that advances and gets to the like Joseph's saying, the ASI, the ultimate supercomputer, whatever, could be potentially screwed. Look at how they treat their citizens. I know this is now the gray area that I don't want to step in, but they treat their citizens with control, right? Their
Yeah.
dictatorship. So
I-
if they get the ultimate form of AI, then China's overall goal of being the number one super global power might be it.
yeah. And America, everyone everywhere right now is pretty much not treating its citizens properly, right? But America now with the change in Trump, like, has to be the best chance that the world has in order to go in the right direction. Right now, what is, like Joseph said at the beginning, is because this all be 100%, it could all be an illusion, right? And in that case, it doesn't really matter. It's fucking China or America. But
Yeah.
I believe in God. I'm pretty optimistic. Like, I think there's a good force in the world against all this evil shit. So if there's any little chance, I'm gonna stick to it, and I'm gonna say America has to figure this out.
Yeah,
Agreed.
I think we all agree on the Stargate that it is a good thing. We did bounce back and forth between ideas that Stargate.
Well, no, not Stargate, not Stargate. I wouldn't agree that Stargate is a good thing.
Necessary thing, at least.
I'm saying that it's
Well, no,
necessary.
Stargate is goes under everything, like the AI, the mRNA, all that. It's the project name. It's the project
Yeah,
name.
no,
So
but that's what I'm saying. I'm not agreeing with that being a good thing. The thing I'm agreeing with is that the age of AI is literally we're at the front
Upon
door.
us.
We're at the front door of
Upon
it.
us.
And if I was the president of the United States, the way I would prepare my people for this is I would let them know, open doors, like, look, this is inevitable. If you want it to be in your society or not, it's going to happen. I can transition you guys into it. I can educate you guys into it in
So
my term. And if you guys don't want to do it in my term, by all means we won't do it. But just know
that
that
idea.
after my 4 years is done, it's gonna happen. The rest of the world is gonna do it, and if you guys don't do it, you're gonna fall behind. Educate them on what it is.
Well,
Educate them on these
logically,
systems, that they're gonna be conscious systems. They're not just gonna stay tools.
so
people are gonna be out
logically,
here. Sorry, go ahead.
so logically, the idea you're right. Joseph, that yes, your president should go out and say how it is and lay it out on the table, but that's just gonna create eruption, like
Dick swinging.
chaos, right? So right, it's just gonna cause many problems. The way that he actually is gonna present it is by touching on the emotion. That's why they're touching on the cancer. That's why they're touching on these different.
I don't buy
ideas.
that anymore,
That's
bro. After the whole COVID thing, they always been saying that, oh, we can't spill this truth because society,
You don't, but majority of people do.
Yeah, but after
That's
the
how you get it across to everybody.
after the COVID thing happened, a lot of people are now more open to hearing like out of crazy theories out of nowhere. But before they used to, oh, people are not ready to hear this. It's like, no, people already. I think people are more than like. Look how many people voted for Trump. I think people are more ready to know. People are ready to know this stuff, and then they're ready for a president who's out dick swinging. That's why they voted for Trump, because he says it how it is. People are ready for that information, and I'm pretty sure everybody, most of the people in the United States, would be ready to hear the truth about what AI is, what the future holds for it.
Yo, they're gonna be literally calling Trump. They're gonna be saying Trump shut down all the other genders, just so he can transition us to AI. Because Joseph, you were saying he's gonna transition us.
He could. He
got rid of all the other genders and all of the other mishaps just so he can transition you into
AI.
You liked it there.
I see what you did there.
That's a good.